Arts and Entertainment. I'm your host, Deborah Gilbert, and I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day today to spend it with me and my guest. Today we're going to talk about music, and if you've been watching this channel, you know of a terrific music show called Shoreline Music Monthly, and it airs every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, and I wanted to bring a very special guest to you today. It's the executive producer and host of the program, Mark Koschwitz. And Mark, thanks so much for being here today.
It is a true pleasure. Thank you for having me,
You're
Deborah.
welcome. I know that you're busy, and I know you've got a lot going on, so thanks for spending time with me and the viewers.
Absolutely. It's nice. It's the first time I've been back inside these walls in a little bit.
I know. Well, everybody's missed you.
No, thank you.
So why don't we, before we start talking about the show, why don't we talk about you? Where do you come from? What brought you to the area? Tell me about your music endeavors.
I am a lifetime Connecticut resident, I guess. I was born in Milford, lived the first couple of decades there, I guess. I grew up in a neighborhood that was, we were all music fanatics. We grew up in, I think, probably overstating, but the golden age of music. I was born in '62, so coming out of the '60s, they had all that stuff that had happened, and when I started listening to music, it was early in the '70s. And so you had all that stuff, all that momentum that was already going, but it seemed to me at that time there were more genres of music going on, being played side by side on popular radio than you see anymore. I mean, we obviously had rock and roll and metal, and I mean there was funk and there was punk, and I mean there was just so many kinds of music. So we all ended up, the whole neighborhood actually ended up being musicians in one form or another. Some still doing it, and you know, maybe some set it aside. But so I grew up just loving music. Did the family thing for life changes. You know, I lived 20 years in West Haven working, and have a son who's 31. And then I think as you find, perhaps once your children get that age, it's almost like the second act happens, and all of a sudden you kind of can be the kid again. So there was, music came back out to play, and I moved out this way to Clinton 13 years ago now almost, and I just met a whole bunch of amazing songwriters that I was playing with at local open mics and different parties, and I felt that there was a need, I guess. There was a hole where these people were writing amazing songs and playing them in pubs or coffee shops, but they weren't getting them into anybody's living room. So that was kind of where the idea of Shoreline Music Monthly came from. Right as I was realizing this, VSC TV was moving to this beautiful station, and there was an article in the Harbor News that said, hey, would you like to be on TV?
Right.
Sign up for training. So I did. I met Chris and the gang here at VSC TV, and by the end of my training, I knew that there was going to be a show called Shoreline Music Monthly, and it was going to have all the amazing artists that I could find to show people.
Did you know, as you were growing up or into when you became an adult, now what musical instruments do you play?
That's open for debate. I think I'm a fair harmonica player.
Yep.
I own many instruments. I certainly have lots of kazoos, but I play guitar. I'm currently really working to try and, I've recently started writing songs myself. I never finished a song, writing one anyway, until I was 56. So I was a little late to it. But if you want to play them, you have to be able to play something good enough to trot them out. So I'm currently working pretty hard on the guitar. I own an accordion, I'm not so much an accordionist as I learn songs on the accordion.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a difference there. But when I play with friends, I typically will play harmonica and accompaniment, and I really don't like to sit down. And some songs are not really designed for harmonica, so I'll learn them on something else so I can keep going.
Because I can remember when I went, we were just talking about the farmer's market, when I would go to Ivoryton and I would see you play with other musicians and you would do the harmonica, but you would be moving around.
Yes.
You weren't the type of person that was going to sit down and play.
No, I struggle with that, yes.
Well, before we get into the show, why don't we take a moment? We have a 6.5-minute clip of your program that I would love to show. So if we can do that, let's run the clip.
Hello and welcome to Shoreline Music Monthly. My name is Mark Koschwitz. We've got a very good show for you tonight, I think. It's actually our anniversary, kind of. We're hitting the big 4-0 tonight. This is our 40th episode. In the Cabinet of Curiosity, we are going to showcase an ancient musical instrument made of fruit and grass. So take from that what you will, but that'll be a little later in the show. I know I've been kind of guiding you folks to our new local festival page on our website, so I just want to remind you about that. And as a very special treat tonight, I actually have a young lady with me in the studio who's going to be playing one of the early shows, the early festivals, the spring festivals of our area, Locapalooza in Bethany, May 20th. I'd like to welcome Elle Sarah to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Glad to have you here.
Awesome.
So Locapalooza, that's pretty cool gig.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
I mean, the 8-9 bands and...
I think so. It starts with the little softer sets, the acoustic, which is where I'm going to be. I'll be playing with a guitarist, and then the bands come on a little later in the day. It should be a really fun day.
Very nice. So you play sometimes with other folks. I see you're here alone tonight.
I mostly play alone, acoustic. Every now and then I have a guitarist with me. And then even rarer and more special is I put a band together for some bigger shows.
Very nice, very nice. Looking forward to hearing some of it tonight. Now you've been doing this for a while?
A long while. I can't even say, honestly. But singing and songwriting, I know I started writing music probably when I was in middle school somewhere, and then picked it up after probably my last year of college. I picked up a guitar and just taught myself to play and started writing really horrible songs before I got to some really good stuff.
welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I am your host, Deborah Gilbert, and we're talking about music and highlighting today Shoreline Music Monthly. And Mark is my guest today again. Mark, still, yeah. Before we go to break, because we do have some time, tell us what we just saw.
Well, you just saw an amazing artist. She's not from our immediate area. By the time we got to episode 40, we started drawing from a little bit more of the state, which was cool. Yeah, El Sarah is do-it-yourselfer kind of. I mean, she works hard. She's the real deal. And obviously you heard, I mean, the talent is stupendous. The songwriting is great. And she's still doing her thing, so if you see her, catch her.
She, when you said that there were artists that you'd like to highlight as part of a clip in the show today, I really liked what I saw in her performance. Were you pleased with the show?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, she's a true professional. I mean, we get folks, some folks do it full time, some folks, are doing it part time. There's a lot of different levels, but they all deserve to have their time. But we've been blessed to have quite a few folks who are just true professionals, and she was one of them. Absolutely.
Now, we're going to take a break in just a second, but I do want to talk to you about what's been happening in the music scene with COVID. Has things been changing since things started? Oh
my Lord, yes. Obviously, we haven't made a new show. Having artists in projecting and singing, in a room with camera folks, and obviously actually some will not come back. Some of the venues that were here, but we're reopening cautiously. I've seen some of the local venues. Scotch Plains Tavern is having some music. Farm markets are back. I haven't seen any music at any of them yet, but hopefully that happens. Shanks and there's folks trying and bringing it back. So hopefully we all stay safe.
Okay, we'll be back in just a second. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
With newspapers and media outlets merging all over the country, communities are losing their local voice.
There's so much going on in the community that I think doesn't really, there's a lot of folks who are unaware of it. And I think things like this can bring it out into the community, and in that way kind of bring the community together.
Information and to our residents is the key to good governance. And with the national media and local media not often covering us, this is an excellent opportunity for us constantly to communicate with our constituents and also to have them communicate with us.
The best outcomes will be achieved through a community-based organization that grows its operation and scale by means of locally produced programming.
All of our content is volunteer produced, so we do shows from talk shows to music shows, working with high schools.
VSC-TV is committed to ensuring that the investment made to secure these powerful tools will pay great dividends in the community for many, many years.
Hello and welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. So glad that you could stay with me today. And today's topic is music. And we're highlighting a wonderful television show that's on this channel called Shoreline Music Monthly. And it airs every Tuesday at 8 o'clock right here. So make sure that you tune in every week. And my guest again is Mark Koschwitz. And Mark, thanks again for staying here. I appreciate it.
You bet. So I'm actually kind of, you also air on Tuesday, is that correct?
On Tuesday at 6.
All right, so now we're building a block. So we got the music and arts and entertainment.
I'm honored. I'm right before you, but you're after me.
Yes. So I'm very glad that you're actually doing this. I don't know if the folks watching know, but you have been part of the team that brought Shoreline Music Monthly and made it possible as well. So it's nice to come back and then take a little part in your endeavor.
Yes, I enjoyed many of your shows as a camera woman, and to see, as a matter of fact, this is a perfect time to talk about it. What is it like to make a show when you show up the day of your taping. What happens during that? It's a long period of time.
Yeah, mine, fortunately, I have Chris Morgan, because...
Yes, thank God for Chris.
Because otherwise, I line up the acts. I occasionally will build drop-in pieces about an odd musical instrument or something. The artists are the ones who come and perform, obviously, but it's the crew, Chris and Christy and all the folks that have helped over the years, that show up on their own time. It's all volunteers, as you just saw in the promo. People come and give back and help bring this stuff out. And so I do a lot of the early setup work, lining things up. And I ask a few questions and want to know if people eat cannolis and whatever other nonsense that comes up. But I mean, most of the work is actually done by others. The bands obviously themselves, they come, they pour out what they've got to give, and the crew captures it. So I'm just very, I guess, blessed to have that kind of network here. And VSC TV in general is it's a wonderful thing, and it's great to see you hopping in and bringing more out there, because it's gorgeous here, and you want to make a show, come down.
Yeah.
We'll teach you.
It is a wonderful program, a wonderful studio to be able to do programming in. But also each show takes a lot of time to make, doesn't it?
It does. There's a lot of editing, because as you know, we'll set up to talk like this, and either I'm talking to either the songwriter, or if it's a solo artist, or sometimes the whole band. Then we have to break all that down, and just like when you're going to play out in a club, now you've got to set up guitars, amps, mics to play. So it can be a long evening. And then of course we're not live, so if the wheels fall off a song, we'll do it again, if that kind of thing. But yeah, after that, I think a lot of the time I spend editing. Just what songs you want to build a flow. I try anyway. If you hope that something that you just chatted about may somehow play into one of the songs they played, so you get a little wink of a segue. Doesn't always happen, but as long as the songs are good, people want to listen to them, and all I hope to do is introduce the artists to the audience, and then get out of the way.
Now, your program highlights music and musicians and songwriters. Are they all in the area? Are they statewide? Are they countrywide? We
started with, basically I twisted some friends' arms, the people I was playing with at the time. We had Frank, Carl, and Bruce in a row, 1, 2, and 3. Those were folks that I had met when I moved out this way. They were all writing great songs. They were all great performers. And then by the time we got through those, I had played a benefit with Kristen Graves, who at the time was the Connecticut State Troubadour. So hey, what the heck? I mean, I could ask her. And so she graciously came on and she performed, and then word starts to get out, and people tune in, and I think that we've treated the artists with respect to their art. I think we showcase them favorably. The equipment here obviously is great. I look at some of the other shows. There's a lot of other music shows out there. You want to see what's going on, and the equipment they have, and I think that we have a look that's second to none, at least in this area.
What made you decide 7 years ago to start the show, and did you know that you were going to keep going? You're going into your 7th year. Are you going to keep going? What keeps you going?
I honestly, the way I normally attack things, I assumed, there'd be an episode or two. I wouldn't have thought we would have made it through a full year. But then we had the birthday party, season 13. I brought the whole gang in from Jay Martin's, which was where the open mic was. So we had all kinds of artists. We filled the room, the lobby, with tubas. I mean, it was who could stop? So we've just been, we haven't looked back. I mean, COVID stopped us in our tracks, and we'll see what happens here. We're airing reruns weekly. We're just going back. We're taking the opportunity to reset the clock, and we started with episode 1, and we're up to around 15 or 16 now. So there's another 55 to go if we need them. But hopefully we can get back to making new ones, because there's always been a list of folks that are worthy to be on, and I'd love to get them all on.
Do you have any thoughts? We're July now of 2020. Do you have any thoughts about coming back this year?
I hope so. Even my wife Wendy and I haven't really thrown ourselves back out yet. I know music has started back up. I love live music. I love playing it. I love listening to it. We've been taking the cautious approach still. We've been having, fortunately, most of the things we love to do are things like cycling and paddling and hiking, and so they're all out inside and safety. But our next band that was going to tape was Jeff Suma and the Roasters, and it was going to be our first 6-piece ever, and there's a sax player, and that's cramming this room with that many people right this minute may not be an idea. So maybe we'll see if we can at least start off with a single, folk singer kind of a thing, back our roots, which is kind of where we started.
What do you think about the music industry in general? How are they doing, and do they have any plans in the near future to get up and running?
Locally, or?
Go ahead.
Oh.
Let's do local.
Because local, they're coming back. I think people are being respectful. I think for the most part, people are still being careful, but you get the music going, and that's nice. Maybe there's no dancing or mosh pits, but it's okay. It's okay. You bring it slow. Nationwide, I don't know. I mean, how do you have a concert with 50,000 people? And some artists require that kind of stage to do what they do. I watched a lot of people were streaming. I've watched some of that, but it's not the same to me as being there.
Right.
Feeling the kick drum in your chest.
We have less than a minute left. What would you like to tell the viewers about your show or music, or what would you like them to know?
Well, they should find us on Facebook, or we have a YouTube channel. All our episodes are on the VSC TV server. If you feel safe, get outside, see some music, be kind to each other. It's kind of a weird time, I think, and I hope, and I'm sure we will come out of this, everything will be fine, but right at this moment, just, realize everyone's going through something different.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mark, for being here today. I really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure, Deborah.
Thank you. And you've been watching Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert. We've been highlighting Shoreline Music Monthly. Remember to tune in every Tuesday at 8 o'clock and see a terrific show that Mark has to bring to you. And again, I'm Deborah Gilbert, and thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.